Hello, teachers, parents, and educational leaders, and welcome to this episode of Breaking Down the B.E.S.T. Now, during this episode, you will get a peek into the members-only area where I have tons of resources to help you make math fun, make it click, and make it stick. There should be a link somewhere around this video where you can learn more. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's get to it, and let's break down the standard. Welcome to Breaking Down the B.E.S.T, a video series dedicated to breaking down Florida's best standards for math. So grab something to write with and maybe even a snack. This looks good. And don't forget to put a smile on your face. There you go. I see you. And let's dive into today's best standard. Hey everyone. My name is Sarah McCarthy and I am super excited that you are joining me as we break down the following standard. Today's standard is MA.4.GR.2.1. The standard says to solve perimeter and area mathematical and real-world problems, including problems with unknown sides, for rectangles, only for rectangles, with whole number side lengths. Okay, so perimeter is the distance around, or we can also add up all of the sides to determine the perimeter, the length all the way around. The area is the space covered inside, and we can use length times width to figure out what the area is. By the way, this document that I'm marking up all over is not something that I have created. This is something that the Florida Department of Education releases to the public, and in these episodes I'm just showing you how I break down the standard in order to create the resources that are strategically aligned in your Taking on the B.E.S.T membership, which we will explore in the second half of this video, okay? Some benchmark clarifications that we need to know. First of all, this instruction extends the development of algebraic thinking where symbolic representation of the unknown uses a letter. Just a fancy way of saying there's going to be letters as the unknown. We need to limit multiplication to 3 digits by 2 digits, which is the limit in 4th grade. And with division, limited to up to 4 digits divided by a 1-digit divisor. This is when we're determining the unknown side length that we'll use division. And also using appropriate units in word form. So if the answer is 4 square centimeters, we might write it like this, or 4 centimeters if we're determining just the perimeter of something, okay? Some related benchmarks that we need to connect with this one. We've got 4.NSO.2.2, that is the multiplication standard, actually both 2.2 and 2.3. One is with more of a model, visual, breaking down, exploring, and one is with the standard algorithm. 2.4 is our division standard, and 2.5 is using estimation to multiply and divide. The reason why this is there is because we are definitely multiplying and dividing to find unknown lengths, so we'll be incorporating that. 4.AR.1.1 is multiplication and division word problems, which definitely relates because we will have perimeter and area problems in a real-world setting where we'll use multiplication and division. You need to know what perimeter is, and that is the measure of the distance around, the length that we are considering. Where are they coming from in 3rd grade? Well, we've got 3.GR.2.3. This is a real-world perimeter and area problem. It's a more basic version of what is going on here. We are definitely taking it up a notch in 4th grade. We're increasing the value of the side lengths. We're in 4th grade, we have unknown side lengths given the area and the perimeter, so we have a little bit more thinking happening with this. And then in 5th grade, we have perimeter and area of rectangles still, but this time we'll be stepping it up to fractional and decimal side lengths. The purpose and instructional strategies section says the purpose of this benchmark is for students to connect perimeter and area problems to algebraic concepts to find the measure of unknown side lengths. So we're connecting what we know about area and perimeter, throwing in that algebraic component with the letter to represent the unknown to determine these unknown side lengths. We're solving area and perimeter problems using models. Here it says that we should use a letter, a variable, to represent that missing side, and having students use the fact that opposite sides in rectangles and squares are equal when solving problems involving perimeter and area. Yes, of course we need that. For common misconceptions that students make, it says that students frequently confuse area and perimeter, and I said yes, this is where they make the biggest confusion, is just confusing what each one is. Instruction should provide lots of opportunities, it should say, for students to work with both measures on the same object and have them explain which one is the area and which is the perimeter and why. And using the units properly. Remember to use square units, square inches, square centimeters, square meters, all of that when we are representing the area. But for perimeter, we just use the regular units. We're not squaring them. To follow, we have an instructional task here. Here you can see that we are given the perimeter. Ooh, this is a mistake here. See, it says the perimeter of the patio below is 98 square feet. This should just say 98 feet there because square feet means area. And in this problem, we're trying to determine what the area is, and our answer would be in square feet. So see, even the writers of this problem can get a little confused with that too. So first for this, we have to figure out what we are given one side here. So 40 feet plus 40 feet plus what equals 98 feet. 98 equals 2 times 40, or 40 plus 40, plus 2 times W, and we know that 2 times 40 is 80 feet, plus 2 times W. So we know that 18 feet would be left, and 2 times what equals 18? That would be 2 times 9, so W equals 9. And now that we know that, we can figure out the area by multiplying the length times the width. For this item, it says which equation can be used to find the area. So we're looking for that length times the width. Here they might get confused because it looks like the length or the width. This looks like the length and the width, but we're adding. Would actually be this one right here. 70 yards times 120 yards equals a square yards. This would be our answer right there, C. Okay, all right, so that would be like a real world example. And this is more the patio problem well, I guess that can be a real world problem too. When it's embedded into a real world setting, that's a real world problem. When it's just a mathematical problem with no context behind it, no word problem behind it, that's where they're talking about with that mathematical side of it. Okay. All right, I think that's it for breaking down the standard. So now let's go explore what resources you have access to with your Taking on the B.E.S.T membership. All right, so here we are on the website. We're going to click Members, enter here. Taking on the B.E.S.T on the left. We're in grade 4. And we're going to scroll down to the GR strand, Geometric Reasoning. And we're looking for this standard right here, Real World, Area, and Perimeter. When you open up, the first thing that you'll open up to are your bronze resources. These are your video lessons and printable student guides. So you can see we have 2 video lessons for this standard where we're breaking down the perimeter and area review in rectangles. So this is kind of like tying in what they've learned in 3rd grade and then matching that 4th grade real world area and perimeter problems here. So in these videos, here's your worksheet, we'll break it down, and we're actually going to take a closer look at these because the whole point of the bronze level is to make it fun and to make it click. In order to guide students to their understanding where they're able to do it independently, they need to practice independently, and that's where those silver resources come into play. So if we click right here at click for your printables, all right, then we're brought to the printables, and you can see here we've got the video lesson, that's the bronze resource right there. It says that Martin buys a blank canvas. The dimensions are shown, so we don't have a missing side length here. We're just practicing to find the area and the perimeter, bumping it up to that 4th grade level where we have 2 digits for the factors that we're multiplying for the side lengths. Here it says the most common window size has a length of 24 inches and a width of 36 inches, so use this to find the area and perimeter. Okay, so that would be practice there. After they watch the video lesson, they can practice on their own right there. And then here we're stepping into creating those equations. You'll see here it says a flat screen TV has a perimeter of 298 centimeters. The length of the TV is 95 centimeters. Write an equation to find the unknown width W. So there we go, using that variable, finding the unknown side length, then solve. Then writing an equation to find the area, A. Again, using a variable to find the unknown. And for number 2, we're provided with the area. We know the length, but we don't know the width. And then we have to find the perimeter too. Both involve writing equations. So after students practice that and record all of the notes on their student guide, they can now use the extra practice pages right here. You can see it's very similar, provided with the perimeter. We've got the width, we're finding the unknown length, finding the area, writing equations, all of that. And for number 2, we have the area. We're given one side length, we have to figure out the other one and find the perimeter. There's 2 pages of extra practice for that. And then there's the math mission. And these are math tasks that just bump up the thinking a little bit more. So part 1 says to draw a rectangle with a perimeter of 140 inches and a side length of 22 inches. Then write an equation to determine the missing side length, L, and solve. For part 2, write an equation to find the area, A, of your rectangle, then solve. And then the last activity for the silver level of resources is the Math Misconception Mystery video. What you do is you just go back to that silver page, you click play right here, and I will guide you through the entire process in the video. First, I'll instruct your students to solve this either on their own or in a small group. And then after they solve it, they will watch as 4 other characters solve the same problem. 3 of the characters are going to make a mistake and only 1 character solves it correctly. And these characters are just me dressed up in silly costumes. And after the video, students will be able to discuss this problem, discuss what the characters did correctly and incorrectly, and fill out this detective report. So that's the silver plan. You've got your answer keys right there. And if you're looking for access to everything available, you go to the gold plan and you have access to more. You've got a mini assessment. So it's about 4 to 5 questions depending on the standard. This one's a little more intense and it's got multiple parts, so there's 4 questions for this one. You can see the variety of question types. Okay. There we go. And then you've got your answer key right there. You also have access to these episodes of Breaking Down the Best right here with all of your resources. So it's a nice little perk of being a gold member that you have everything and it's ad free. These videos are also available on YouTube. They just contain ads. So it's just a perk of being a gold member. But really the highlight of the gold plan is access to McCarthy Math 155, which is a daily math intervention that was aligned to the Common Core standards, the standards that we had prior to the BEST standards. I know it says Common Core. If you've had some experience with both Common Core and the BEST standards, you probably have noticed that there are a lot of similarities. There's just enough of a difference to give me the opportunity to create a whole new program, but there still are a lot of great lessons here for students to be able to practice to build their confidence. So if we click that, the 155 stands for 155 videos for each grade, and if we click on 4th grade, let's scroll down a little bit. You can see the different units available. We are looking for perimeter and area, which is Unit 10. Okay, so when we click Unit 10, you can see that we have practice finding the perimeter of rectangles, finding the perimeter of squares, finding the missing side length given the perimeter. So it's really kind of decomposing the skills, finding the missing side length of squares. Okay, you can just see the extra practice that we've got there. Lots and lots of videos for extra practice. So if you have students struggling with perimeter and area, the difference between the two, then this will definitely help them. So really, you'd be able to go in there and explore and find a lot of resources that still do. You just want to make sure that you're finding something that will support the standards. Even though it might not have everything that the BEST standard has, it still has elements of the standards that we need to know for extra practice, okay? All right, everybody, I think that is it. So I hope that this video made sense, that now you know what the expectation is of the standard. You know what resources you have access to with your membership. And before we go, I just want to remind you that what you wake up and you choose to do every day with your life, it really does matter. Thank you so much for leading your students, for stepping into the best version of yourself every day so that way you inspire your students to do the same. And of course, thank you so much for inviting me into your educational space. I love being able to support you and your students. I truly do. And I especially love being able to put time back into your pocket. Speaking of time, I know that you're busy. So I'm going to let you go ahead and go and get back to all the things that you need to do and accomplish for a successful day. And I will see you in another episode real soon, okay? Bye! Okay, so I know that I just said goodbye for now, but I'm going to ask you to do one more thing, okay? If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing it with your teacher friends or other leaders in education. That's how I get to continue doing what I love to do, which of course is supporting you all to the best of my ability. All right, for real now. Bye!